One morning, when the mayor and Captain Salt were seated at breakfast in the cabin, in rushed the boatswain.
Gun! It's come unstuck.
Oh, Johnny.
What do you mean barging in like that? Can't you see I'm having me breakfast? What's come unstuck?
A bit of cardboard.
Oh,
Nonsense. Come unstuck. It's lasted 2 voyages, hasn't it?
Well, it ain't gonna last no longer. Come right unstuck it has. The water's pouring in like anything.
All right, I'll come when I finish my breakfast. Put the glue bottle on the fire in the goose galley.
Aye, sir.
When the captain had eaten several more slices of bread and treacle, he rose, grumbling, from the table and went on deck, followed by the mayor. From the open hatch leading to the hold came a loud swishing and splashing, and the mayor, peering in, saw that the hold was half full of water. Upon the surface floated dozens of Christmas crackers. The mayor turned to the captain.
What are those?
That's the cargo. Christmas crackers for the Cannibal Islands.
Just then they heard a gurgling sound, and the head of the boatswain rose above the surface of the water.
It don't seem to be getting no better.
We'll call all hands and get a raft built in case the ship sinks.
Oh, I wish I'd never come on this voyage. The ship is simply an old wreck held together by tin tacks and pieces of string. I'll build my own private raft and sail back to TOYTOWN alone.
Well, you got a lovely day for it.
Ernest the policeman sat in the mayor's study at the town hall. He was wearing the mayor's gold chain over his shoulders, and this, with his tin medal, gave him an appearance of great dignity. Before him stood the mayor's secretary, his arms full of papers.
Now, Secretary, don't forget this is a very special day. At 10 o'clock, the procession starts. I shall enter my state coach and drive to the square. I shall wear my gold chain and my new uniform. Arriving at the square, I shall make my speech.
You mean the speech I have written for you?
I said my speech. After the procession, we shall return here for lunch. Don't forget that the town band is to play while I consume luncheon.
I quite understand. As it is now 10 o'clock, the coach is probably waiting to start the procession.
10 o'clock already? Then if the red carpet has been laid on the steps, I think I will start.
And so it happened that when that morning the mayor of TOYTOWN came floating down the river on a raft, he was surprised to find the town apparently deserted. Only one little figure was visible. It was that of Larry the lamb, and he sat on the bank with a glass jam jar beside him, while between his little hoofs he grasped a long stick from which dangled a bent pin on a string. The raft bumped against the bank, and the mayor jumped ashore.
Well, Larry, my lamb.
Oh, sir, you did make me jump. Where have you been?
I've been shipwrecked, my lamb.
Shipwrecked? Oh, sir, that must have been dreadful. I hope you didn't get wet.
Where are all the people? And what is that music I can hear in the distance?
Sir, that's the mayor processing. You know, sir, going round the street with a band. He says it makes the town lively.
The mayor? What mayor? What are you bleating about?
Well, of course, he's not really the mayor, but he calls himself the mayor. It's really only Ernest the policeman.
This is dreadful. Ernest calling himself mayor of TOYTOWN? I've never heard of such a thing. I'll make an example of him.
Without waiting to hear more, the mayor set off, running towards the sound of the music. And presently he arrived in the square where a large crowd had collected. The band was playing vigorously, and Ernest the policeman had just stepped from a brightly painted conveyance, which the mayor recognized as his coach.
This is disgraceful. Do you hear, Ernest? You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Hmm? Ashamed of myself? Me? When I've taken all this trouble to welcome you home?
But how did you know that I would be home today?
Well, I didn't, but I knew you'd get home sometime, so I arranged a procession every day to meet you in case you came. Unexpected, like. I hope I knows me duty. Don't cough in that rude way, Secretary. Anyone would think I wasn't telling the truth. I hope you are better for your voyage, your worship.
Do I look it? I've been shipwrecked, and you are a disgrace to the town.
Well, after being shipwrecked, your worship, no doubt you will be ready for lunch. If you will step into your coach, the band will lead the way to the town hall.
I shall want a few words with you later, officer.
Oh.
The mayor climbed into the coach and was driven off. Ernest looked sadly after the departing coach. Then his glance fell upon Larry the Lamb, who was standing a few yards off, his eyes fixed upon the constable.
Oh, Mr. Ernest, sir, aren't you an awful storyteller?
Storyteller? Me? No, you be careful, my lad. I think the mayor ought to be very pleased, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes me a sergeant.
Is a sergeant the same thing as a sample?
A sample? What do you mean by that?
Because when I told him everything you had been doing while he was away, the mayor said he would make a sample of you.
You told him about me? I never did. Move along now, my lad, or you'll get your name and address took for trifling with the law.
Larry scampered away down the street. Ernest looked after him, frowning. Then he shook his head sadly, placed his thumbs in his belt, and walked slowly away in the direction of the police station.